Good morning. It is Thursday, May 5th. I'm Shane Seeley, and this is the CBC Morning Report. Leading our news this morning, there is a product on the market with the potential to save farmers from the recent hike in feed prices. Well, this product has been tested, and studies reportedly show farmers using it have reduced the feed that they use by 40%. This could be a game changer for local farmers who, from 2 days ago, were paying 8% more for feed from Pinnacle Feeds Limited. So, what is this product? Well, to give some details here on the Morning Report, I want to welcome Kayla Griffith. She's the communications coordinator for ProCage, a local company that manufactures liquid probiotics for livestock, poultry, and pets. Good morning, Kayla, and welcome to the Morning Report.
Hi, good morning, Shane. Lovely introduction.
Talk to us a bit about this product, this probiotic coming from ProCage. Just let us know what does it do, how does it work, and how can it save farmers?
Okay, so ProCage stands for the Performance Research Organization for Critical Animal Gastrointestinal Enhancement. So it's a bit of a mouthful, but essentially ProCage improves the gut structure of animals, allowing them to absorb more nutrients from the feed they consume, right? As a result, as you mentioned earlier, this can cut farmers' feed costs by up to 40%. So we wanted to actually test this, so we teamed up with multiple farmers to record their productivity and feeding practices. And what we found is that in a 5 to 6 week period, they were able to achieve these results of a 40% decrease in feed, right? So just to put that into perspective for you, if John Brown had his his broilers growing out, and they use 80 bags of feed, he was able to achieve the same growth with better rates bags of feed. All right. So to bring a little more context to that, to bring some more statistics, if a broiler achieves 5 pounds processing weight in 7 weeks, that's the current standard. Using the ProCage probiotic products at the recommended rates, the same farmer can achieve that 5 pound weight in just 5 weeks with no chemical intervention. Right?
Wow.
So we also found that these farmers reported a lower mortality rate in their batches. So it was essentially slashed in half. Where they may have experienced a 10% mortality rate before, it dropped all the way down to 5%. And given that these products are organic, they can and definitely depend as well as around your to improve the longevity of your bedding as well as fly populations and smells. So that's another savings in itself. You don't have to be tearing out as much bedding as you raise your animals out. So another benefit of ProCage probiotics is that as you're using them, it reduces the need for other vitamins and supplements, right? And though we were talking a lot about chickens, we found that we have various properties that are beneficial to other animals. For example, dairy cows would produce a higher quality of milk, and pigs have a growth with healthier and much higher conception rates.
Okay,
Right?
so
So I
when
know you may
you
be wondering, sorry.
I was about to ask, so when you look at the pricing structure, the feed prices
Yes,
have gone up by some 8%. This product, the
yes.
probiotic, can help you save 40% on the feed you use. So you're using less feed, so you're spending less money on feed. But obviously, the farmers now would have to add the cost they're paying for feed, maybe less using the probiotic, plus the probiotic. So talk to me a bit about the cost structure, and will you be still saving when you go the route of using the probiotic?
Oh, definitely, definitely. So as our probiotics sell right now, it is $50 for a liter and $80 for a gallon. So, it's definitely beneficial to buy in bulk as you go forward. And that that quantity will last you for quite some time because the recommended rate is just 3 ounces per 55 gallons of water. So you could do some conversions there and see that it is quite beneficial to, rather than buying more feed, to buy a little less and invest in something that will reduce that feed cost altogether.
So what is the next step then as you try to help farmers across the board they're now looking to increase prices if they're purchasing more feed. So what's the next step for ProCage in terms of helping the farming community take that next step and hopefully save some money on feed so that those prices wouldn't go up as much?
Yeah, we would like to actually challenge the Ministry of Agriculture to look into purchasing and distributing these probiotics to farmers, right? This could give them savings in the millions. So it's essentially, instead of looking to just subsidize feed, give them something that makes that feed last a lot longer, right? So we are available at many convenient locations, all of the Massey Farm and Garden locations, as well as the Roberts retail store.
ProCage was recently a part of a forum known as AgriTech. We had some rabbit farmers on the show recently on Mornin Barbados talking about what they're doing in trying to get that animal into the market here. Talk to us a bit about ProCage and AgriTech and what you're trying to get across there.
Yes. So the farmers you're referring to, those are the Shawns from Trinidad, which is another area that this product has been very, very well received. And in that workshop, we really wanted to challenge young farmers as well as small farmers in essence, to see rabbit farming specifically as more than just a little side hustle, but as a viable business, as a viable career option. Right, so the workshop really delved into the possibilities of exporting rabbit meat as well as its byproducts, right? And that event was very, very heavily supported by entities and stakeholders such as Pinnacle Feeds, the U.S. Embassy of Barbados, CARDI, ICA, SB, and Export Barbados. So we really are trying to work with key stakeholders within Barbados to, bring this product out and show farmers how beneficial it is for them.
And you're saying that ProCage is in Trinidad as well, so you're exporting too?
Yes, we already have a market captured in Trinidad, and we're working very, very closely with Export Barbados to expand towards the region and in the future internationally as well.
Okay. Well, we're definitely wishing you all the best, and we hope that you make that connection with the Ministry of Agriculture and, most importantly, farmers to help them save so that we can save when we go and purchase our meat and other products. No one wants to see any price increases in these difficult times. Thank you so much, Kayla, for spending some time with us. Kayla Griffith. She's the communications coordinator for ProCage, a local company that manufactures these probiotics that we hope that farmers will take advantage of for their livestock, poultry, and pets. You be safe until next time we chat.
Thank you.
Well, we'll take a break here. We have a lot more coming your way. As far as COVID-19 is concerned, we'll look at what is happening on the local scene. And of course, we'll take a look at what is happening in Ukraine. Barbados recorded 621 new COVID-19 cases, 278 males and 343 females from 1,825 tests conducted on Tuesday by the Best dos Santos Public Health Laboratory. That's a pretty big number. The bulk of those cases, 471, are from those 18 years and older. There were 109 people in isolation facilities. That has not gone up too much, while 3,247 people were in home isolation. Meanwhile, a 67-year-old vaccinated man and a 77-year-old unvaccinated man died from the virus on Tuesday. Guyana's Ministry of Health is warning Guyanese of higher risks from BA4 and BA5 Omicron variants. The health minister there, Dr. Frank Anthony, explained even though this variant and these variants have not been detected in Guyana, they are increasing across some parts of the world, and Guyana should be on the alert.
Scientists are now studying the effects of the new Omicron subvariants BA4 and BA5 that are currently surging across South Africa. Data gathered on these subvariants show that they are more transmissible than the previous variants and that they cause increased hospitalizations.
One thing that is coming out is that even if you've had an infection in the past with Omicron, that BA4 and 5 seems to be evading your immune response. So if you had a previous infection, it evades that. And even with vaccination, it can also evade those defenses.
Minister Anthony also made it clear that those who have not yet received their COVID-19 booster dose may be at risk of hospitalization due to the new subvariants.
But if you're not up to date with the vaccine, you probably would have had 2 doses, didn't have the booster, then you will see after about 5-6 months, there's a weaning of your immunity, and because of that, you can get back severe forms of infection. So it's something that we have to monitor.
Authorities in China and in China's capital Beijing have shuttered the entrances to more than 40 subway stations and 158 bus routes as the government there tries to rein in the spread of the highly contagious Omicron variant of the coronavirus. Let's see what's happening there.
Fencing has been put up around buildings and compounds in neighbourhoods where infections are the highest. Restaurants and bars are only allowed to serve takeaways while gyms and schools are closed. Millions of people are being tested. Katrina Yu reports from Beijing.
Well, things are extremely tense. I think every day Beijing residents wake up and if there is no citywide lockdown announced, people are very thankful. They're trying to make the most of their ability to go outdoors. But with the kind of numbers we're seeing at the moment, I think most people agree that a citywide lockdown is not going to be very likely unless we see a huge spike in numbers. But what authorities are doing is sealing off neighborhoods in a very targeted way. So if you are unfortunately in a part of the city which is affected by cases, for example in Chaoyang district, the eastern part of the city where I am located, then you will be locked down while the rest of the city has still relative freedom. Now, Beijing isn't the only city to announce these measures. There's another city, Zhengzhou in central China, home to 12 million people, that announced similar measures today on Wednesday. And also, if you look at Shanghai, China's commercial center, the most populous city in China further down south, that remains mostly under lockdown. Officials there said that they have eased restrictions beginning on Sunday, but because that city is continuing to see thousands of new cases every day, there's still a long way to go until that lockdown is lifted. So the majority of the 25 or so million people living in Shanghai remain confined to their compounds or even their apartments.
In news related to Ukraine now, the European Commission has proposed its toughest sanctions yet on Russia. These include a phased oil embargo as part of a 6th round of retaliatory measures following Moscow's invasion of Ukraine.
This is the Gazprom Neft installation in Khanty-Mansiysk. From installations like these in Siberia and across Russia, crude oil, diesel and petrol are pumped to customers. Taken together, every day, nearly 8 million barrels of crude and refined products are exported. 2/3 of them end up in Europe. But now, Russia's war against Ukraine has changed everything.
Today, we are addressing our dependency on Russian oil, and let's be clear, it will not be easy, because some member states are strongly dependent on Russian oil, but we simply have to do it. So today, we will propose to ban all Russian oil from Europe. This will be a complete import ban on all Russian oil, seaborne and pipeline, crude and refined.
But in order for this to happen, it will need the support of all EU member states, and some are strongly resistant to all-out embargoes.
Brussels' sanctions package would destroy the security of Hungary's energy supply. Like this, the package in this form cannot responsibly be supported.
The sanctions proposed in Strasbourg will also target several large Russian banks and other financial institutions. The notable absentee from the list is Russian natural gas. In a sense, it's the elephant in the European living room. Too big to be ignored, but also too big unilaterally to be done away with without seriously damaging economies across this continent.
The bottom line is you will probably not be able to replace Russian gas anytime soon. We're talking about 150 billion cubic meters of gas that Russia sends west. That's coming down at the moment, but we're still going to face a shortage of quite a few BCM out there.
The Russian government condemned the proposed embargo and said sanctions are a double-edged weapon which will also hurt Europeans economically. And that's the problem facing EU leaders. They want to act fast against Russia, but they're stuck with the reality of decisions that governments across Europe made over decades when they thought that it was in their best interests to make deals with President Putin.
It's a difficult balancing act. We'll see what happens over the next few days and keep you updated right here on the Morning Report. Let's go over to Wendy now to find out what's happening on this Thursday edition of Morning Barbados. Wendy, how are things looking there?
Things are great this morning, Shane, because we're going to get to applaud our exceptional youth today. Yes, we are. We have a number of them coming this morning, among them a budding young pilot, as well as a DJ who's not yet at secondary school. Imagine that, DJing in primary school level. But before them, we will meet with one of our educators, Sandy Field, as she's familiar to you, Shane. And she's going to be telling us all about her Creative School of Reading and Education and a program they have called SEED, which stands for Sandy's Early Education Drive. So we'll find out more about that and more when Morning Barbados begins.
Looking forward to it, Wendy. I'll see you at 6:30. We'll take a break here, but when we come back, yet another commodity set to see a price increase. This time it's fish because of the price of fuel. Let's hear more on the other side of this break. Fishermen are warning Barbadians will have to pay even more for a fish unless a way is found to ease fuel prices. We hear more from Lisa Brew.
Members of this crew busy loading bait onto their vessel, preparing for a trip. Well, the bait is just part of their pre-sailing costs that include things like ice, food, tackle, and salaries. Now add the soaring price of fuel, and the fishermen say they're at their breaking point. Everton Brathwaite, who has more than 40 years of fishing under his belt, says things have been getting progressively worse with the successive hikes in fuel prices. So the most recent increase has compounded a bad situation.
I moved from $6,000 a trip to $8,000 since the fuel gone up, and that's just diesel. My expense is about $16,000 a trip.
And he's not the only one. Wayne Rose, a 26-year veteran and boat captain, has described the situation as simply ridiculous.
From 14, 17, and back to 14 and to 58, it is a very high cost now. As a captain carrying a boat, my diesel bill gone another $15 to $2,000 on that bill.
One thing they acknowledge is the cost of fish is already high due to many factors, including scarcity. And while they're reluctant to increase prices, it may be the only way for them to earn a living.
If you have to get help, fish price will probably level out at how it is now. But if we don't get help, price have to go up. It must.
Remember, the fish prices are already high already. And if we are get hit in with extra price for diesel, we got to catch the fish, which price of the fish is really high. So we want some sort of concession or something to do with getting off some of this fuel and letting it ease them.
Now, part of the problem, as Everton points out, is it's cheaper to fuel up outside of Barbados.
I fuel up in St. Vincent many times, and I was saving at least about $3,000 per trip. But it would pay me to go down there to get fuel, to get away from this cost. I would like to spend my money here in Barbados, but if it's going to kill me, I have to go somewhere else to ease the burden.
So what can be done? Well, Donville Brathwaite, who has been fishing for 35 years, says the solution might lie in reverting to an old practice.
I want to know from the minister or the prime minister why we cannot get duty-free fuel again. We used to get it before. They stop it for some reason, and nobody can tell me why. You clear customs, and you can't get duty-free concession from the port. I want to know why that is.
Whatever the situation, the men say they need government intervention and they need it quickly. Lisa Broom, CBC News.
In other news, Senator Dr. Chantal Monroe-Knight says there's a plan to alter the constitution of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital Board from 12 to 15 members. Dr. Knight piloted the first reading of the QEH Amendment Bill 2022 in the Senate yesterday. She told the upper chamber the additional capacity was to give way for additional competencies to be added to the skill sets of board members. In the area of labor, the bill is to allow the minister to bring the requisite skills to the institution as government confronts issues facing the healthcare institution like the current COVID-19 outbreak.
It is intended, Mr. President, to bring voices from different places to the table, so that we can be assured as citizens that our concerns do not only have to be fueled in through the calling program by which we like to use, but that we can have representatives on that board that can speak to the issues as we would want to as citizens, that can put solutions to the challenges that confront the healthcare system, that can speak to the healthcare system and to speak to addressing those issues in a way that humanizes the process. Because very often we can speak about institutions and functions, but not necessarily to the end that they serve.
Meanwhile, another senator, Dr. Crystal Haynes, who is the registrar at the hospital, says the tertiary healthcare institution had recently seen a number of accomplishments, including the expansion of the accident and emergency department, the appointment of a number of temporary posts, and new equipment. She said these things, along with the board expansion, were all to position the QEH's future. Senator Haynes says they are putting many new things in place.
An $18 million capital equipment investment has been made, which has seen the purchase of a new operating microscope for neurosurgery and for ENT. We've seen, through philanthropic donations, renovations of Ward B8, the donation of a new CT scan to the Accident Emergency through the Maria Holder Memorial Trust, and the implementation of an automated inventory management system. The new board, like I said earlier, will be tasked with positioning the QEH for the future.
Meanwhile, another medical doctor in the Senate, Senator Dr. Christopher Maynard, told the chamber that if government continues to invest in the infrastructure at the QEH, there must be a return on that investment. He is concerned about the income-making operations of the hospital, with private care decreasing from the $12 million raked in per year, and that was brought in by consultants, and that's down to $2 million.
There is a reduction in the number of people who traverse the QEH's doors to seek private care. Is down to a minimum. If the government is going to invest significant and large sums of money, or continue to do it, into the infrastructure in the QEH, there has to be some return on the investment. And we have to find avenues of encouraging my colleagues and others to use the facilities for private care.
Let's look at some sporting news now, and there was absolutely no upward movement for the West Indies teams in the annual update of the International Cricket Council's rankings. The Windies lost 4 ratings points in both Tests and One-Day Internationals, dropping to the team rankings. The Windies remain 9th, and in the T20 format, they sit behind New Zealand in 7th position. New Zealand lead the way in the ODIs and India in the T20 format. That's sports. Up next, we take a look at weather. The temperature right now is 26.6 degrees Celsius. It's partly cloudy and slightly hazy on the outside. There has been some drying out of the atmosphere. The relative humidity now stands at 78%, so not as much rain expected today. The barometric pressure is down to 12.9 millibars, and the winds are coming out of the east at 19 kilometers per hour. There will be a low tide this afternoon at 14 minutes to 1. A high tide will come our way around 21 minutes after 7 tonight. Those seas are smooth to moderate in open water. Swells are between 1 and 2 meters and increasing. Today in Barbados, we'll have a mix of sunshine and clouds with a few brief isolated light showers. And tonight, we will see a mix of clear skies and clouds with a few brief, isolated light showers. And that's it for the Thursday edition of the CBC Morning Report. I'm Shane Seeley. I'll see you at 7 with headline news. Up next is Wendy Burke with Morning Barbados.
Wake up! Wake up! Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. It's a terrific Thursday today. Yes, indeed it is. We're going to have some tremendous thoughts and we're going to have some tremendous young people. Yes, because it's Exceptional Thursday today. So welcome to all of you and a great morning to all of our young people out there who are exceptional. I'm Wendy Burke. This morning we will be looking at a young guy who's really interested in youth and its development. He's an activist and he's also an expert in leadership and people development. Yes, Ajani Lebowen is a young professional with expertise in training and development, life coaching and leadership. He was one of the speakers for the UNCTAD 15th Youth Forum. Good morning to you, Ajani.
Hi, good morning, Wendy. How are you doing this morning?
I am well this morning. And then how is it back home there for you? It's in Lucia?
Yes, St. Lucia.
Yes, how are things there?
Yeah, it looks like a pretty good morning. Things are going pretty good, and I'm excited to be on the show this morning.
And we're happy to have you. Now, you were a recipient in 2017 of the Queen's Young Leaders Award and St. Lucia's Most Outstanding Leader in 2016. Now, after receiving those awards, you just keep giving back to your country and the youth in your area. Why is there this burning desire and passion in you for your youth work?
Right, thank you for that question. So a lot of it for me started with the introduction to the National Youth Council. So I had the privilege of attending a program hosted by the National Youth Council, to which I was able to really see how youth work, youth development can transform the lives of young people. Through that program, I think I got a fair understanding of my own capacity as an individual. So from then, I moved on to actually being a member of the National Youth Council. And basically, most of my work started off within the student movement. So as a student representative, and I was an advocate. I started off being an advocate generally for educational and student-related issues, really recognizing that many students are disadvantaged within the education sector, particularly, youth with disabilities, students who have varying learning challenges, students who come from, lower social status, and ensuring that these students have an equal say in terms of the development of education, and also that student development is prioritized. Because if we look at student development as a catalyst for national development, then most of our effort and a lot of our focus is going to be placed on developing leaders within schools who can then graduate and move into youth development spaces and more or less become the future leaders of our country. So a lot of that was where I focus a lot of the emphasis within my student leadership life. But now I've more or less moved into a more training and development role, which of course provides services to the National Youth Council, but at this point in time focuses more on leadership development for young people and civil society organizations.
Okay, let's look at those areas you honed in on, especially as it relates to education for our disabled and for those children who the curve may not spike as high as for others immediately. The pandemic, how did it impact on their access to learning in St. Lucia?
Right. So a big issue within the country is in relation to the access to education. The ability for students to be able to afford the basic education. And we saw that happen within the whole face-to-face setup. The whole issue of the rising cost of school fees and in relation to the cost of just generally preparation to participate within the school arrangement, access to school materials, transportation to schools, even affording meals. We have the school feeding program, which we had really called for an expansion to ensure that underprivileged students had access or were able to come to school with a proper meal. So COVID would have, exacerbated a lot of these issues. We recognize that many students who, of course, came from low or underprivileged environments did not have access to endpoint devices to be able to engage with teachers over the distant learning setup. We recognize that a lot of students who were within those disadvantaged spaces did not have the best home environment to engage, and of course that facilitated or that led to a disconnection between those students and the learning setup. So we recognize that because there are not generally those social safety nets for students, COVID would have made it very difficult for us to reach those students. And we saw that as a major issue for the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College, that those students who moved into the tertiary space, there's the expectation that they should have access to those technologies. But the digital divide and, the whole access to, and not necessarily just generally endpoint devices, but devices that are or that have the capacity to deliver the level of education that is required, that have the capacity to interact with lecturers, with teachers as expected. So a lot of those issues came to the fore. And what we're saying right now is that government needs to use the COVID environment, the COVID experience, as an opportunity to build a better education sector, one that is more inclusive and accessible for all students.
Okay, as first vice president of the St. Lucia National Youth Council, were you all able, through any of the funding or grants that you may receive from time to time, able to help any of these children who would have been significantly impacted during the pandemic?
Yes. So one of the main focus for us was in terms of educational assistance. And in 2020, we were able to host an educational drive, which was more or less a national telethon. So we allowed for corporate agencies, just civil society organizations, members of civil society, entrepreneurs, individuals just interested in supporting the education sector to provide that educational assistance. We were able to raise about 25,000 EC dollars that went towards providing that assistance. We donated the monies to the St. Lucia Social Development Fund, and that monies, I think, we were able to impact in excess of 25 to 50 young people, young families who needed the assistance at that time. What we also did to the back end of the year is that we partnered also with private sector to provide hampers, food hampers, recognizing that, of course, COVID would have made it very difficult on the purse of many young parents to those single families. So a lot of that work really helped us to reach the young people. And moving forward, a lot of what we want to continue to encourage is that, particularly for young underprivileged families, that the social safety nets are in place to buffer the challenges that they may be facing in this tough economic time.
How are you balancing all of that civic duty that you're carrying out with your political science studies at the university right now?
Yes. So what I can say is, it's either you love it or you leave it. So it's either you have a passion for this and you feel a personal connection to it, or you don't do it at all, because ultimately I think your passion will help you to keep going. And I can say that this is what has kept me going over the years. I've dealt with my own personal and professional challenges. To me, youth work is an outlet for that. I've been, I can say, a story, a testament of the way youth development has transformed me, growing up as a generally introverted individual and seeing how youth development has helped me with public speaking, has helped me to connect with people, to build relationships. I think the same can happen for many young people, and that's why I keep going. So the National Youth Council, although we've been through challenges over the years, I think with the involvement of more young people, with the ability to connect and to bridge the divide between youth and youth within informal spaces, we can build an organization that is more relevant to the young people. So that's what really keeps me going, keeps me excited about the work, keeps me very privileged and humbled to be in this position. And with the political science work, I just see it as an opportunity to then increase my reach and my impact within not just St. Lucia, but the Caribbean and the Commonwealth region.
That's what I was going to come to next, your involvement with the Commonwealth, because you're Vice Chair of Advocacy and Partnerships for the Commonwealth Students Association and Country Head for St. Lucia. So you are constantly busy.
Well, I think it's generally a privilege to be in these positions. For young people who come from small island developing states, we have to ensure that the talents, the skills that we've been able to gain over our years of experience or through the spaces that we've been privileged to enter must be invested into improving the lives of young people like us. Our resources are scarce, and we must come together as much as possible. We must try to pool those resources to ensure that the generations upcoming have a better environment. There's this saying that you know if you enter through a door, you need to hold that door open for those coming behind you. And I truly believe in that. I truly believe in the need for us to empower young people. I truly believe in the need for us to create spaces for independent youth thought, that young people can recognize the challenges that they're facing and can come together to develop those solutions to improve their environment. So I'm 100% behind young people who want to continue to, ply their trade and to break glass ceilings and remove the divides, the issues that curtail the participation of young people within areas of political development, civic engagement, leadership, governance. All of those issues are relevant to young people, and we must encourage youth as much as possible to be part of those spaces and to contribute substantially.
Okay, Ajani, I want to thank you so very much. Ajani Labuan, you are doing your part not only for St. Lucia, but for the Caribbean and also for the Commonwealth. I wish you well in your studies. I know it's time coming up for exams, so I wish you well going forward. And I want for you to encourage more to have that interest in youth development, whether it be at their community level or at the national level. It was a pleasure having you this morning, Ajani.
Thank you, Ms. Book. Appreciate it.
We appreciate you as well, and all the work that he and others like him are doing in the region. Advocacy. Sometimes we don't all have that voice, and we need others to speak up for us. So we're happy that Ajani is one of them. When Morning Barbados returns, we will be dealing with some more exceptional youth, as well as looking at some of the learning issues that our young people may be encountering. We'll be back in a bit.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
And we're back. It's time now to talk about seed. What are we planting and what are we growing? Well, Sandy Field-Kelman, the founder and educator, who's the principal at Sandy's Creative School of Reading and Education, will tell us exactly what it is about. It's Sandy's Early Education Drive. And to help her this morning as well are two of her volunteers, Fiona Griffith and Marcia Miller. I want to welcome all of these ladies this morning as we focus on an upcoming event they're having this month, as well as the work they're doing out there in their community. Good morning, ladies, and welcome to you.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Now, let's get straight to it. You're going to be having a motorcade on the 14th, Sandy. What's that all about?
Yes. Okay, we're going to have actual 3 events to actually launch our program. And we thought of a motorcade because for me, I like intermingling and reaching people. So we are starting on the 14th, where we will have obviously all of the trucks, we will have the children, the volunteers, and we will actually go into these areas, starting from Baxter's Road into the New Orleans, up Bridgetown, Nelson Street, Greenfields, and we culminate at the Pine, Errol Barrow. So we're going through these areas, Wendy, because what else but actually meeting and reaching and talking to persons, all right, especially the children. So we decided we wanted to have something more common touch. So we're using all the COVID protocols, rules and so on. So we are going to be actually doing that. After that, we're going to have a public meeting, possibly somewhere in town, and then we're going to have our launch, where we will launch the actual program.
Okay, now why did you see the need for this particular program at this point in time? And also too, I recognize that a number of the areas that you've mentioned, you know, are what some of us would refer to as the depressed communities, where sometimes, you know, children don't always get all of that one-on-one because, you know, mom, dad, everybody's out and about working to put food on the table.
Correct. That's an excellent question, Wendy. That's why we're here. During COVID, which is 2 years now, as I teach, as I said, it came home to me that I teach who have a lot of not only challenges, but home issues, more on the borderline of being impoverished. It came to me that something needs to be done, Wendy, to help these children. Yes, our children who are high flyers, they get through and so on, but what about the psyche of the children who are being left behind in all various aspects? So last March, the idea came to me, was on my heart, placed on my heart, and I decided how best to do this. And I got a group of volunteers, and of course a lot of people called me when they heard about it, and they came on board. Now we have different people with different skill sets. It's not a program where you have to be necessarily qualified in quote unquote your area. What we are looking for are passionate, die-hard persons, both male and female, and especially the young persons. We have a lot of young persons on our team. We couldn't have some of them this morning because they're off to school. When I say off to school, they're teaching in the school system. So what we decided to do, we would formulate a program where we can, and the word seed, what best word that you want than seed. So we decided to come up with skills, critical and analytical skills, discipline, a lot of different music therapy, oral skills, verbal skills, enunciation, more so literacy, because literacy is a tool for life, and that is our motto. So hence we decided then to formulate all these things around that motto. So I really do think, Wendy, for the next 10, 15 years, we need to really help our children hone the skills that they really need to carry forward. And that's why in my group, we have a mixture of both young, middle-aged, and older, because you need to have blending. You have to have that blend of youth. All right, so yes, we decided that we would have, and of course, the persons who are in it,
yeah,
persons who are willing and raring to go.
And that's why I want to talk to those two individuals who seem willing and raring to go with you now, Fiona and Marcia. Let's start with you, Marcia. What drove you to volunteer to be part of the program?
Well, I have always had a passion for children, especially youth. And when I came back to Barbados after living in Canada for 39 years, I wanted to put my passion to work. So I was looking for a group to volunteer with, and Sandy's group was introduced as a family member. And from our first conversation, I knew this was the group for me because we connect, because I could feel her passion, the same passion I have. And that's what prompted me to volunteer with the group.
And what about you, Fiona?
Well, I am a person who has been working with children for years. I found, and it started with summer camp, and I recognize that I have the ability to reach children, bring out their potential, even when they didn't recognize it. And after meeting Sandy and recognizing that the passion, what I had was called passion, and working with Sandy was a real privilege, and it made me got even more interested in working with our youth.
Okay, so the ladies are on board. What about the gents? Are they coming forward, Sandy?
Yes, there are. We have some young gentlemen and with lots of great ideas. But you know, sometimes, Wendy, the ladies step up to the fore easier. So we do have, and we're going to be also having, as I said, teenagers. And I really do think, yes, we need to have our volunteers and so on, but I like to work with young people, people who are still in school, because you have to expose them to the things that they will face in another 10 to 15 years, Wendy. So
now,
we have a cadre and a mixture of all ages. We actually starting at the age of 5.
Okay, that's awesome. Now, outside of the literacy and the mathematics and all those other things, I recognize that you're not only incorporating soft skills, but you're also trying to get children involved in their society and in nature, because we're talking about field trips, art and history museums, ecological parks, performances, and culture. Now, for some children, this is stuff they don't get to do unless they go on a school trip. And we know that COVID has blocked a lot of that. So how are you going to be maneuvering all of this within the current environment we're in?
Where there's a will, Wendy, there's a way. What we're going to, after we have done our 3 launches and 3 programs, we are going to be having a physical place, and we will do it naturally on a numbers setup. But the program, as I said, is not only literacy. Literacy is the foundation of anything that one does in his or her life. You have to be literate. So a lot of the other things that we are going to do, like music therapy and field trips, etc., a lot of historical things that children did before, what you and I did when we were growing up, we are going to expose them to a mixture and a wide scenario of different things that they can learn, Wendy. Because remember, children will not only be academic. There are some children who will not be academic. So you have to expose those children to areas and challenges that they can take on from now that can carry them through life. So hence, that's why we're dealing and using all these skills. It's a big mammoth task, but we are going to get it done. I have done it in my life already, in different organizations and in my own school. And I know that, you know, once you have Jesus as your director, things will fall into place. And right now we have a lot of people who is on our bandwagon.
Well, let me speak to 2 of those that are riding with you. Now, Fiona and Marcia, self-esteem and the whole notion of positivity and discipline are also parts of this program that you ladies are going to be working with Sandy on. For you, generally, I'll go to Fiona first. How do you find your interaction with young people, having run your summer camp? Is this something that you find is lacking, or a lot of them questioning who they are and if they should be bold and, you know, direct?
Because during summer camp, one of the things that I introduced in my camp was etiquette. And I found that a lot of my students, my campers, that they didn't have any idea about what etiquette even was. And when I started doing that, they were excited. And when they recognized the different aspects of etiquette, they were on board. They wanted more. And I find that that is something that should be introduced to the schools because it's lacking. And I find when you build on different aspects of etiquette skills, it builds confidence, it builds self-esteem, it makes you believe in yourself. And when you go out to socialize, it also assists in that area. So I think that etiquette is very, very important. It builds character, and children, it is a whole package. And I think it's needed in Barbados.
Okay, what about you, Marcia? Because you're returning to a place and space, and soft skills would have been, one of the things you would have seen quite frequently in your world of work, because Canada has so many different ethnicities and migrants and so on. So, for you, coming back home and interfacing with our young people, what did you find was one of what were some of the major things you found that were needy?
Personally, I found self-esteem and that confidence, because, we were raised in an era where it was more or less be seen and not heard. And it's amazing how that has affected a lot of us through the years. And I find, for me, I think young people, they have a voice. Let them have a voice. Let them have, just let them be themselves and just build that positivity in them and make them confident that, what, it doesn't matter what you say, it's still valued, it's still count. You're important. And I think that's the main focus for me, is to make sure no child is left behind. No child should feel they don't matter. Every child matters. And I think if we can just meet them at where they're at and not just at where we want them to be, I think that would make a big difference in these young people's lives.
Okay. And I guess, Sandy, that is one of the things in relation to the fact that you said not all are going to be academic, because we as parents tend to throw all of our misgivings into our children's laps and assume that they should continue on the pathways that we missed, which really isn't the right thing to do, because they might want to be the furthest thing away from where mommy or daddy are at.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the program now, you mentioned that there are going to be 3 launches, which means you're taking on different aspects, different communities. Give me some dates, Sandy, so people can come out who want their children to be a part of it.
The 14th of May, 10 o'clock, and we meet at the corner of Baxter's Road, Passage Road. And then the other one is slated for the 23rd of June. And that most likely will be either in the park or the Esplanade. Then at that one, we're going to be actually letting our children perform. I want also to say, Wendy, I want to say thanks to Red Plastic Bag and Glenn Murray. He wrote the lyrics, plant the seed and let it grow. Please remember, you must nurture. It's better than to sow. Sow good seed, it will take your tree one day will grow you. A harvest of good first, all in the seed, is where it all must start. I want to say a very, very big thanks to Plastic Bag for writing those lyrics. It has another verse, which will be sung at the launch with children. And then the final launch will be the actual invitations to the sponsors and the parents and the children. And we will have a big giveaway, of course, on your station, where we are going to be giving out laptops, devices, footballs, lawn tennis rackets, you name it. Wendy, what a child needs, we have it. And we will be giving those children, doing a distribution, most likely, I'm hoping to do it in y'all's car park, and because we have lots and lots of stuff. So we want to do that, and that will bring it to the final launch, and then get going with our program in July.
Okay. Are we capping?
Camp, but it will, pardon?
Are you capping? Is there a cutoff number that you're going to be accommodating, given your voluntary numbers and so on?
Yes, we will cap off at 100.
Okay. Well, that's still a good reach.
Because, yeah, it is good reach. Mind you, Wendy, we are going to get, it's a good reach to start, more so because of this COVID time, but we want that each volunteer will have his or her own people, own children, because we want to really expose our children to lots of stuff, horse riding, kayaking, all that, climbing, going, I'm a hiker, hiking down in Turner's Hall, down in Coles Cave, and we want to really expose them to those things.
Yes.
This program sounds awesome. I think I'm wishing I was 11 or 12 again.
Yes, you can come, Wendy.
Maybe at some point, if I have some free time, I'll come and do story time for you for the younger ones.
Very good, Wendy. Very good.
Okay.
to you for that word.
Yes, you can hold me to it. I'm a woman of my word. Well, ladies, it was great having you this morning. I can't wait for the launch of SEED, Sandy's Early Education Drive. Thank all your volunteers who are on board, and I hope the others heard the call you made for some more to come out. Sandy Field-Kelman, Fiona Griffith. Yes, Fiona.
May I give you the contact numbers? And
Yes,
the email
sure,
address
quickly.
persons? Yes, you can reach us at 245-4497 or 258-6075, and our email address is sandy.literacy@gmail.com.
Right, so there we have it. This is how we can reach you, little ones. There's a lot there. We want to help you grow through SEED. Fiona Griffith, Marcia Miller, and this is the full team that's on board here in front of us. We want to thank you for coming forward. And then, as she mentioned, there are also some other teenagers who are going to be helping each other. And we always believe in youth being able to reach each other because they know where they're all coming from. Ladies, have a terrific Thursday and best of luck to you with your program going forward.
Thank you,
Thank you so much. You have an awesome day today, Wendy.
Thank you, ladies. I appreciate it. Now, that was Sandy Kelman. Yes, a lot's going on there. Who knows, maybe a lot more exceptional youth will end up coming out of that program, which will begin in earnest in July. When Morning Barbados returns, you should get close to your phone lines because we're going to be spelling. We'll be back in a bit.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
And we're back. Well, it's approaching that 7 o'clock hour. Well, and it's going to be time now to join our very own Shane Seeley to see what he will be updating us with. But we are going to be having some more exceptional young people for you. And they're in so many different areas. You know, it really pleases you as a parent when not only your own are doing well, but you can see others. It's time now to join Shane and find out what's going on the other side of news.
Thank you, Wendy. Here's your headline news for this Thursday, May 5th. With the hurricane season just around the corner, we're hearing that Barbados is working to have a Hurricane Hunter aircraft stationed here on the island. This was revealed by Prime Minister Mia Moore-Motley. She says a request has been made to this effect. Ms. Motley, in an address to the inaugural gathering of the athletes, conservationists, technologists, artists, and innovators, better known as the ACTI Group, said that further east, the planes that fly into tropical cyclones to gather weather data are the more refined. Well, when we have that, the more refined the data will be.
Right now, you get the refined data only in the US, but a lot of the islands in the Caribbean don't get it because we don't have the Hurricane Hunter posted at an earlier stage going out to be able to see what is really happening with the formation of the storms. And look at a storm like Maria. Maria hit Dominica as the first landmass as a Category 5. Unheard of. Unheard of. So we feel that this is an opportunity for us to be able to use Barbados as that platform.
The Prime Minister says small island developing states like Barbados have had to displace expenditure due to the immediacy of crisis issues brought on by climate change.
There's limited support from anybody in terms of development aid, and yet we're not the ones who caused the problem. G20 countries have caused 80% of the problem. The stock started is what matters, and the stock started build up from 1750s with the Industrial Revolution, and it's not just about the flow, as you know, it's about the stock. So that the countries failing to step up have led to us having to put on our balance sheets debt, regrettably. Barbados has been borrowing money from the Inter-American Development Bank for the last 25 years to protect our coastline. Now, all of that is one of the reasons why our debt is as high as it is.
There's a product on the market with the potential to help farmers save lots of money from these recent price hikes in the face of these recent price hikes in feed. And its producers are challenging the Ministry of Agriculture to get on board and help protect consumers from potential price increases that will be passed on across the board. The company ProCage has announced that its liquid probiotic for livestock, poultry and pets helps to reduce the amount of money farmers will have to spend on feed by approximately 40%. Communications coordinator for the company, Kayla Griffith, is confident it would help to address concerns about the 8% price hike for feed from Pinnacle Feeds Limited announced on Tuesday.
We would like to actually challenge the Ministry of Agriculture to look into purchasing and distributing these probiotics to farmers, right? This could give them savings in the millions. So it's essentially, instead of looking to just subsidize feed, give them something that makes that feed last a lot longer.
And the ProCage representative says the liquid probiotic has been tested here and the results are promising. She went on to say that ProCage is already exporting to Trinidad and Tobago and has been working with a number of regional agricultural institutions to promote its liquid probiotic for the farming community. And that's our headline news for this morning. I'm Shane Seeley. We'll have more from Wendy on the other side of this break on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning to you.
It's time for Spell It with Pediasure. Are you going to spell it in 30 seconds?
Yes, it's that time again. Auntie Sandy was talking about literacy, and now we'll get to see how much you're taking in from your reading because we'll be spelling it with Pediasure. It's now time for you little ones to win. Spell the word, which I'll call, and call me at 228-5562 or 228-5563 and tell me the spelling for the word. This morning's word, well, that depends on how old you are. I don't want to make it too difficult, but you're going to win with Pediasure, which is clinically proven to help you little ones grow. It serves up a complete and balanced nutrition for your little bones and muscles, and it also helps with brain and eye development as well as immune support. So call me 228-5562 or 228-5563 and let's get to spelling this morning. Good morning. Okay, Call me, 228-5562, 228-5563. You can get a chance to win some Pediasure. It comes in some exciting flavors. Who doesn't love some strawberry and chocolate? And then there's also vanilla for those of us who prefer a little milder. But yes, Pediasure. Mommy, Daddy, go on out to the supermarket. Good morning. Hello and good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning to you. How old are you?
11.
Oh, you're 11. Okay, this is your word for today. Enlightenment. Enlightenment. Can you spell with me?
I can hear you.
Yes, go right ahead. Enlightenment is the word. You have to spell it aloud.
Enlightenment?
Yes, you only have 30 seconds. The clock is racing. Okay, now call me, people. Let's get spelling. Enlightenment is this morning's word. A lot of positive young people, and yes, we want to be enlightened in as many ways as possible about many things. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yes, can you spell enlightenment?
Pardon me?
The word is enlightenment. Start spelling now. Are you there? No. Okay, is this word a little too tough this morning? I don't think so. The word is enlightenment. Yes, it's only 30 seconds you have to spell. The clock is ticking. Listen only to your phone, not to your television, so you don't get distracted and you begin spelling before the buzzer runs out so that you can win this Pediasure. Good morning to you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, the word is enlightenment. The clock starts now. Attempt the word. Okay. Remember, parents, go on out and purchase that Pediasure. Keep the health of your little ones going. It's excellent to put in that lunch bag as a snack if they have additional activities after school, albeit COVID, but who knows. Well, we have no one this morning getting the word enlightenment correct. So maybe tomorrow we'll see if anyone can get it, or we'll try a new one. It's Spell It with Pediasure. The range of tasty options provide balanced nutrition, and there's sure to be one that's right to fit you and your child.
That was Spell It, brought to you in association with Pediasure.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
And we're back. There were no spellers just now, but someone who can help them with that is Mr. Brandon Dowell, who is the director at Bright Sparks. Now, over the next 2 weekends, Bright Sparks and Sandy Crest Medical will be hosting a health and education collaboration, which will see nurses from Sandy Crest conducting free blood pressure and blood sugar tests, thereafter educating everyone about their results. At the same time, the education professionals from Bright Sparks will be tutoring and offering free learning assessments with a primary focus on reading and writing. Good morning to you, Brandon.
Good morning, Wendy.
Yes. Now, how did this initiative come about? What was the thinking behind it?
So it was really an idea sparked by Bright Sparks. We like to enlighten students with more than just the traditional academics. We want to have a focus on their health as well. And we're well aware of the non-communicable disease crisis. Even at the Bright Sparks Tutoring Agency, we have a blood pressure machine where we encourage parents and students to be aware of their health numbers. So we were able to get some assistance from Sandy Crest in fulfilling this initiative. Our other pillar which we love to focus on is reading, because we've noticed in the pandemic there's been a drop in reading levels in students across Barbados.
Okay, how down is that drop? Have you worked out a percentile based on new referrals coming your way exactly?
Well, I would like to say there's a high percentage. I can't necessarily quantify it and be 100% accurate, but what I've noticed is that if I get 10 calls in a day, 9 of them, the parents is going to tell me, my child is struggling with reading, my child is struggling with reading. It's been a constant thing that I've been hearing on my cell phone every single day, and through my empirical observations where I realized that there has been a significant drop.
Okay, now the event over the next 2 weekends at Sandy Crest, what are we aiming to achieve from it?
Our aim is awareness. Our aim is to let you know where you're at in health and in reading.
Okay, now how are these, because usually when people hear assessments, a number of parents get a little, hedgy because they think it's going to be a massive cost. But in terms of the assessment that you'll be doing, what does it encapsulate?
So we use the Macmillan Reader's Reading Level Assessment. So it associates pictures and words and assesses the overall vocabulary level of each student. So there are prerequisites which each student must know at a certain age. So they would group it on beginner, intermediate, expert level, and it would give us recommendations as to how to treat that student and diagnose their reading difficulties.
Okay, do you think that there's a correlation in terms of how children cope with their deficiencies and maybe some of the general things that they do health-wise? Like, for example, might you find a child who knows that they're struggling with the reading might tend to want to induce more sugary foods, drink a soft drink to try to calm that little anxiety, instead of one box juice a day, I'm consuming 3 and 4. Based on your interactions with the children, do you find that they move towards unhealthy habits as a coping mechanism?
I think it's the other way around. I think the unhealthy habits of young students has the negative impact on their academic performance. I think it's the other way around.
Okay, interesting. And that it does, because it's, going to be slowing us a bit. So in terms of the collaboration, it's just these 2 weekends. What do the parents have to do who want to bring their kids for that assessment, just so they're fully prepared when they bring them?
So for the most part, the student just needs to show up. We all are professionals are going to be there, whether you're getting your health check, whether you're getting a reading assessment, someone is there to assist you. So for the sake of the old age, just saying you can come with your old 2 long hands.
And that's great, because in these times, when the pockets are a little dry for a lot of us, it's good to know that we can just come and be assessed. Now, you spoke to the reading aspect of it, and teachers would have still been able, through the pandemic and through the whiteboard and the screen shares, etc., in the online environment, to help you with your reading, because they could listen to dictation and all those other things. But one of the things that they would have been unable to do is to actually, especially those preschoolers, is actually be able to help with the writing process. There would have been no one there to assist you in how to hold that chubby pencil, how to follow those lines correctly, etc. I've seen it pop up on the screens too, but it is tremendously different when you actually can have that teacher there to give you the guidance in terms of your writing?
So I love that you highlighted that. So even yesterday, I was in a conversation with a parent. She was telling me the student is brilliant, but for some reason he's not writing at the pace that matches his brilliance. So I would have called from assistance from Miss Weatherhead, which is a reading professional that works with us. She would have told me, let's look at his motor skills. So remember, when we were younger, we would be accustomed coloring, holding pencils. We had a culture of always using our motor skills where writing and holding a pencil is concerned. And over the pandemic, students were not able to efficiently develop these motor skills, and that is also impacting the writing overall.
But then there are other motor skills that they're putting to use, especially our little boys. These thumbs, they're constantly using them.
Most definitely.
You know,
Yeah.
so, but I guess the thumb is different to the thumb and the index finger. So, and that's what we need to be at. Now, outside of this weekend assessments that you're doing, what else is Bright Sparks likely to do? We have summer coming up. A lot of parents are concerned in terms of how they can help play that catch-up game for their young ones.
So we have been consistently doing academic camps. Although it's academic, we still implement a fun learning system for the students. So we're going to have a summer camp at our tutoring agency. Also for the older kids, we're doing an entrepreneurship camp at our primary school in Britons Hill.
Okay, so that's awesome. A lot more people are tending to embrace that idea, and we're no longer telling them you have to work for someone, but you can be your own master. You find the children embrace it readily?
Yes, I think a lot of first have misconceptions of entrepreneurship. So why I push entrepreneurship for secondary school students is the concept of self-sufficiency. I'm not saying that everyone needs to be an entrepreneur, everyone does not need to be a business person. But I think the pandemic has shown us that we all need at some point to be self-sufficient. We all need to know how to make a dollar outside of a workplace. So whether you go through an entrepreneurship program, is more about the mindset and the ability to create and sustain yourself, as opposed to, we're not saying that you're not going to capitalize on your opportunity, but we're not actually promoting everyone to be entrepreneurs. We're more promoting the mindset.
Okay. Now, what time do we get started on Saturday, Brandon?
We start at 11 a.m. and we're closing at 5 p.m. However, assessments went over, because we did a session in Sheraton on Saturday. That was fantastic. We went over because everyone really wanted, we weren't able to really meet the demand, so we apologize to the person at Sheraton that we may have cut short, but come on out till Kaimon at 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. We might even open a little later just for you guys, and we hope to see you there.
Okay, Brandon, thank you so much for offering that, you and Bright Sparks. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
That was Brandon Dowell, a director with Bright Sparks, and they're having some activity over the weekend, so you can go with your young one, have some health checks done, and also some free reading and writing assessments. When Morning Barbados returns, we'll get to talk to some of our exceptional youth.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
tsunami can move as fast as a jet plane, this is where you should get to higher ground immediately. Do not go to any beaches or coastal areas. Just grab your emergency kit and run as far inland as possible.
This message is brought to you by the Department of Emergency Management and the United States Agency for International Development.
And that was little Kimani Haynes. He's actually the head boy over at Rennell Weeks Primary, and his birthday clock is ticking down. The young man is just 10, but he'll be 11 in just over a week. Now, he was doing the DEM's, the Department of Emergency Management tsunami message. Yes, and that was for their Tsunami Awareness Month campaign. And he got to be in that role because he was the winner of last year's inaugural poetry competition put on by the DEM. But even more than that, Kimani is an aspiring pilot. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning to you, Kimani. Now, you have a lot going on at just 10 years old. Church is a big thing for you with your Sunday school group and all the recitations you do, the programs you're involved with. You like coding as well, you know. Then you also find time for Young Eagles, which is the junior arm of the Light Airplane Club. Why this love for aircraft?
It is because I always used to go to the airport and see different aircraft that I tend to love a lot. So then I told my mother that I wanted to be a pilot.
And when you see them in the air, can you identify them based on their size and the wing structure and all of that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so tell me, what's your favorite aircraft?
Currently, my favorite aircraft would probably be Boeing 747.
Okay, so that's what you like. So what are some of the things you do when you attend Young Eagles?
Some of the things we do would probably be go on a flight simulator or go up in the air to tour around the Barbados in a Cessna.
Ooh, and you like that?
Yes, ma'am.
What's your favorite area that you like to fly over?
Probably the beach.
Oh, you like the ocean. Now, when you're on that simulator, are your landings always smooth?
Not all the time.
So you admit not all the time. But you know what? You're only 10, so you have a lot more time before you're flying any of us up there in the air, so you have time to catch up. Now, common entrance is coming for you, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
How are you feeling about it?
I am feeling very brave about it. It's not that hard.
It's not that hard. And where do you want to go?
I would like to go to St. Michael's School.
Why? Why that choice?
Well, it's because it's the only school that I would really, really like to go. And also, my mother went to that school.
Okay, so you want to make mommy proud by repeating that in the family. That's a great thing to do. So what do you do when you're at church, Kimani?
Sometimes I would read poems, I would say Bible lessons, do skits, I would sometimes even sing, and also I would do like prayers and read stuff for Christmas and different holidays.
Okay, well that's great. One of the other things you enjoy too is coding. And I understand that you at some point want to be able to write your own game. Tell me about it.
Well, the coding is going pretty well. I learned a lot of stuff. I even made my own official website with over 300 lines of code.
300 lines of code, and you did them all by yourself, or you were assisted by the folks at Carrion Academy?
No, I did them all by myself.
That's awesome. So what's going to be the name of this game? Or is it going to be flight simulation in some way as well? Are you going to join your two loves?
It's gonna be flight simulation, and I didn't even know it was gonna be named yet.
Okay, so no name as yet, but you know definitely what that game is going to be about. How do your little friends feel about the fact that, you know, on weekends sometimes you get to fly around the island in your Cessna and do these simulations? Does it inspire them to want to be a pilot too?
Well, there's one friend that I would sometimes go with the to the Young Eagles, and that would be my friend Tevin. He sometimes come on Embargo Day, but he doesn't really go any Cessna, but we would just run around and play.
Okay. Are you finding a lot of time for playtime now, given that you're preparing for the exam?
Well, every time after school, I would sometimes go outside and run around.
Okay.
Or go outside with my little brother.
And how old is that little brother?
He is 2 years old.
Okay, so you're being a good big brother and showing him all the right things to do.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, how does it feel to be head boy over at Reynolds Weeks? Do those other children really listen to you when you issue commands?
Not really. We would tell them sir would leave the classroom saying, don't talk, you can talk, but don't talk too loud. But then as soon as sir leaves, there's this one person that would issue a talk, and then all of a sudden it would get too loud. And then we would then have to go and say, do not talk too loud, or we would just make a list and put down everybody that's talking very loudly.
Okay, so you write them up in a hurry, Kimani. That's interesting to know. Now, you told me where you want to go to school. We know what job you want. Outside of that, what are some of the other things that you want to be doing with your life?
Well, I would like to be really wanting to be on YouTube, because I really love to watch those other YouTubers. They seem to be very funny sometimes, but I realize what they can do and how they actually entertain other people by just saying random words and doing certain stuff.
Okay, so you like YouTubing as well. Now, are we going to hear any more messages from you? Hurricane season is starting. Are you going to be telling your little friends how to get prepared for the hurricane?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, you're dressed for school. I'm going to wish you an awesome day, a terrific Thursday, because we are happy that you are exceptional, Kimani, and you keep it up and grow from strength to strength. Have an awesome day at school today. Yes, he was at CBC recently, because you can hear him in our devotions, which would have been done for Child Month. So that's Kimani Haynes, head boy at Reynolds Weeks Primary and an aspiring pilot. Kimani, congratulations to you for all your accomplishments thus far, and I wish you more success in your 11 plus. And that's your artwork?
No, I got this from my godmother for Christmas, and it says, have big dreams, you will grow into them.
Yep, and you're growing already, Kimani. Godmommy knows exactly what type of child you are. So again, have a great day at school today, and don't be afraid to put those names on that list when they get too loud.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great morning. That was little Kimani Haynes. At least he's trying to instill some discipline in his colleagues at school. When we return, we'll have even more exceptional youth. We have a young DJ and a few others ahead when Morning Barbados continues. It's wonderful when we see our young people knowing at such a young age exactly what it is they want to do and try to chart the path toward that particular area or endeavor that they want to be a part of. Also remember that you can go on over to Sky Mall where Sparks will be this weekend along with the folks from Sandy Crest to have those free tests done. Now it is time to get on the wheels of steel. Well, they're not steel anymore because we're all digital these days. But Trezari, DJ Zari Payne Daniel, a student at the St. Martin's Mangrove, is only 10 years old and is already doing DJ gigs. Good morning to you, Trezari.
Good morning, Barbados. Good morning, everyone.
And why does your mommy look so familiar to me? Kathy, how are you? I have not seen you in forever. That is great. That is great. Now I understand why he is DJing. Because with mommy singing and daddy DJing, he just chose one of the loves, you know. No, Trezari, when did this love for music and DJing start? When did you recognize it was a passion you had?
Well, when I was 7 years old, when I was 7 years old, I was using a DJ app called Virtual DJ, and that was something that you could do on the laptop itself. And then from there, I upgraded to the turntable, and my mother is a singer, so that really started to make me love music.
Okay, now outside of playing from home, you know, your dad would hear you, he would record you, and he started posting you online. And that got you your first gig, playing at a place called Fowley's Bar in Parishland on Thursdays. When you heard that, how did you feel?
I was so excited and happy at the same time.
So what kind of music do you play over there when you go to Fowley's on Thursday evenings?
At first, we always start with the slow music, which would be like reggae. Then from reggae, we move on to I would say, some bashment, dancehall, and then, usually that's it.
Okay, so on Thursdays, the folks over there in Parishland are looking forward to seeing you come over.
Yes, please.
What about your little schoolmates? How do they feel about you doing what you do?
They'll be awesome. Like, they'll be like, oh my God, I want to be like you when I grow up.
I see. That is awesome. How do you feel about it, Kathy? Entering on the stage at so young an age. Mm-hmm.
It's true. I'm happy. You know, he's following and, you know, me and my footsteps where the music is concerned. So I'm happy.
How do you ensure that he balances that with the schoolwork?
Well, right now he's with his dad. So his dad is the one that's helping him with his schoolwork because I'm traveling still. I'm working on the cruise ship. So, but when I'm home, I still try, you know, to fill in the gap.
Okay, that's great. And it's always good to have a committed father because it was his dad, Troy Daniel, who also DJs. Now, Daddy has been able to also get you the training and some help from DJs like Lil Rick and Surf Rat. When you got those guys to show you a few things, how did you feel?
I was really, 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 really excited. I'm very happy because I never had that much music yet.
Okay, so they were actually able to help you build your music volumes. That's great. Who are some of your favorite singers that you like to play?
My favorite singer is my mother.
What did he say?
He said I'm his favorite singer.
Oh, your mom. Okay, but there's nothing wrong with that. She is the one who brought you into this world and made you like being around music. Now, I am still in awe at the Fowleys, but outside of Fowleys, you also got to play at the Sweetfield Manor in March for Stay Alive, an even bigger stage than your neighborhood bar. Tell me about it. What was your first song? What was your first tune?
My first song was Vagina Can Tell I See Them From Afar.
Aye, so you know exactly who they are. Yes, let's look at him there on stage, hyping up his crowd and then getting ready to do what he has to do. Yes, DJ Zari is ready for the action. Now that was a big one for you. Let's hear. Yes, so that day you were impressed. Kropover is coming. How many gigs are you looking for? Will you be willing to be part of it?
Yes, please.
So once it comes and it's good, Zari's on the wheels.
Yes, please.
That is awesome. Now tell me a little bit about school and what are some of the favorite things you like to do?
Well, the favorite thing I like to do in school is mostly schoolwork and PE.
PE, you like PE. What's your favorite sport?
My favorite sport is cricket.
Ooh, how many runs did you make? Or are you a bowler? That sounds as though you're making ducks, Trezari. Are you making zero? Or are you just on the field waiting for a ball to come over and hold the catch? But never mind, you have enough time to practice, so you can love it all you like. There's nothing saying you have to be the best at it. But remember, just as you kept practicing with the music and you are getting there and you know exactly what you need to do, the same will happen for the cricket. Now, is Common Entrance coming up for you or next year?
That is next year, ma'am.
Okay, so how have you been gearing up?
I'll be getting out a lot recently.
Had to put in a lot of work. Yeah.
Okay.
Because my father is a mathematician.
His dad loves math, so he grows him when it comes to the math.
Okay, so daddy wants to make sure you're in the numbers game. And listen, Trezari, the numbers game is important because if you're DJing and you're working, you got to make sure the money's right when you get paid.
Yes, please.
I bet that's your favorite part of it. What do you do with some of it? Do you look forward to it so you can buy some additional video games, or are you taking it and reinvesting it in the business?
Well, yeah, in the business. Because right now, I only got one speaker, and right now I'm saving up to get a bass speaker at the bottom.
Okay, so
And
you're building out your kit. I like that.
Yes, please.
That's great. So not only are you enjoying the music, but you're understanding that in order to become better, you have to equip yourselves with all that is necessary. Now, what about nerves? When you go on a stage or you go down to Fowleys and you see new people who've come out to hear you, do you get nervous at all?
No, ma'am.
Why? Have you always been this bold?
Well, ma, I play them there every Thursday, so I got used to it.
Okay, so when they come and they congratulate you, you just say thanks and you're happy with that. That's
Yes,
great.
please.
Staying humble is a big part of the game as well. Your mom knows that well. Well, Zari, DJ Zari, Trezari, DJ Zari, Payne Daniel, it was a pleasure having you. I won't keep you back any longer from getting over to school at St. Martin's Mangrove. I want you to have an awesome day today and keep being the exceptional young man that you are.
Thank you, and thank you.
Thank you. Bye, Kathy. Good seeing you again. All righty. Yes, mother and father, both in the entertainment arena, and little Trezari is coming along and doing his own thing as well as a DJ. When we come back, we'll get to meet with the winners of the BAAP competition that was held recently. Some more exceptional young people, but in another area. And we are back. This morning, we're going to be talking to some exceptional youth. We have Azaria Johnson, Denzel Green, and Trinity Clark. They are the winner, second placer, and third placer of the BAAP video competition, which was held recently. The BAAP, which is the Barbados Association of Administrative Professionals, in collaboration with their youth arm, BAFOP, which is the Barbados Association of Future Office Professionals, hosted an informative and educational seminar on an event for youth by youth for the future. Now, in that regard, the students had to participate in a video presentation which detailed their desired careers. And these three individuals did just that, and this is where they landed in first, second, and third. Good morning to all three of you. Good morning. Well, I know for offhand who Trinity is, so that means this is Azaria over here to my right and Denzel on the top. Now, let's go first to the winner. Azaria, how did it feel?
It was really exciting. It was a great experience, and I had fun writing the speech itself.
Now, you at 17, a student of the Harrison College, you're into sciences, and that's where you want your career to be. So I guess writing that speech was fun because you so love the subjects.
Yes, please.
Now, what is it that you want to be?
I want to be a doctor or a physician. Both.
Okay, so that's the area that we're heading in. Now, you're also a member of the Gavel, the Next Generation Gavel Club, which is helping you hone your leadership as well as your presentation and speech skills. So would you say that that participation contributed to your win?
Yes, please, definitely. Gavel Club has really taught me a lot and improved my speaking ability over the years.
Okay, let's move now to our second placer, Denzel. Now, Denzel, these young ladies often assume that the stage is all theirs when it comes to speaking and being office professionals and that type of thing. What was your subject area?
Yes, my subject area was diplomatic relations.
Okay, so at 18, and having been the former head boy at Lester Vaughan, I guess you understand how to relate to everyone because, you know, it's all about you being the liaison between the students and the teacher body and the principal. Now, you also sit on a number of committees, Denzel. You are on the National Committee on the Rights of the Child. You're also an active member of the Seeley Memorial AME Young People's Department with church. So, that life and wanting to move into diplomacy. Tell me about it.
Yes, please. Well, I am now a former member of the National Committee on the Rights of the Child. It is very important. Youth play a very pivotal role in the development of our societies. I believe it was in 2018 when I was elected as president of my church's Young People's Department. And ever since then, my passion for leadership, my passion for representation, and my passion for interact with people has just gotten bigger and bigger.
Okay, and our third placer is Trinity Clark. Now, we know you with a mic in hand and on a stage, but here you are doing a video at 15 about what your areas are. Now, you've changed your interests a bit over the years, Trinity, because before the passion was all about singing, but now you're more interested in culinary arts and athletics. You also belong to the said Gavel Club. Now, how did that all assist you, and what is your area for future work?
Well, good morning. The Gavel Club would have assisted me in being able to communicate effectively, how to write my speeches and be precise and to the point, how to just be able to communicate and then have be interested in table topics and discussions that go on often. And I didn't choose other things to just throw away singing. I included them because I realized that I have a lot of interest, including that of speaking and writing. So I just decided to what if I combine them? Because for me as a person, it's hard for me to stick to one thing. I like to be interested in a lot of things. I have to keep moving and being interested in so many things. And I love cooking. My mom taught me how to cook. My grandmother taught me how to cook. My nana taught me how to cook. So that kind of runs in the family. And singing is a gift. And then athletics, I would have developed an interest when I was in about primary school. So I just kept going at it and just kept being passionate about what I love.
Okay, and your chosen career that you would have done your video presentation of?
Well, my speech presentation is not centered around one career. The speech was entirely about 3 careers which I want to combine so that I will be able to put all of my talents and skills to use instead of sticking to one thing and then having interest just there underlying. So I just decided, what if I do a speech presentation on, it's not a matter of being indecisive, it's just combining what you love and just turning that into a career.
Oh, that's awesome. And I'm glad you noted that it was not an issue of indecision, because that's what I always tell my little ones. Indecision is never your friend. Even if you do it and then there's an error, admit to that error, know where you went wrong, and go back. But it seems as though you all made no errors on the day in terms of your video presentations because you came out in winner's row. Now, when we have some videos here of you at that competition, which Bayfop did. And we'll begin with you, Trinity.
Careers, your future, animation, coding, fintech, biotech, green engineering, robotics, aquaponics, virtual reality. Yes, the reality. The future, careers in vocation, emerging vocations. Chair, honorable judges, and industry professionals. What do you want to be when you grow up? I am Miss Trinity Clark, 15 years old with big dreams and huge aspirations.
And you will reach those aspirations, Trinity, if you keep climbing. Let's watch Denzel's now.
Hi, my name is Dante Freeman. I'm a student at the Barbados Community College, the Secretary Treasurer of the Barbados Community College Political Science Association, and a future diplomatic ambassador of this great nation of Barbados. Ever since I was young, I had a keen interest in the world around me, and I always saw myself to be a participant at the negotiation tables. My first taste of a leadership position was in primary school, where I was chosen to be head boy.
Leadership is in your veins. And we're going to hope that it stays there and wish you every success as you go forward in your studies to take you there. Now we see why Azaria Johnson was in winner's row.
Chair, esteemed judges, industry professionals, when one thinks of an innovative vocation, your first thought might lead to the technological field in this day and age. However, I, Azaria Johnson, want to become a physician. The way how I see it, medicine is one of the most innovative career paths out there. There is always a new treatment method, drug, or clinical trial that revolutionizes patient care. Doctors have to constantly stay apprised to all of the changes constantly being made in the field. Now, I know you might be wondering why I would want to go into a field where I would have to constantly study. I am not quite sure either, but my interest is always piqued when I am learning about the human body and the different systems that are working within our bodies that help me to do something as simple as write and deliver this speech. A key factor of medicine also happens to be one of my favorite things.
With you, Azaria, was it difficult for you to comply with all of the criteria which the judges issued?
No, please. I think what I might have found most difficult was giving advice, because I'm only 17 and I don't think that I have the requirements to truly give advice to someone who's close to my age. So I was mostly just speaking from experience and things that I did, but I don't know how much that might have guided someone. I hope it did though.
Okay, and what about you now, Denzel? Was it difficult for you? And after having come through this competition, what would you say is your next step from here as the eldest in the group?
The video that you all just saw was not my video, but it was my friend's video, who did also a job in for the competition. But for me, I would like to, after finishing my studies at Barbados Community College, majoring in government and political science and history, it is my hope and dream to go on to University of the West Indies to further my studies in the field of political science and hopefully to earn a bachelor's in international relations. And quickly, I would like to thank my political science tutor, Ms. Walters Jones, who encouraged me to join the competition.
Okay, and finally, Trinity, before we have to wrap up Morning Barbados, what's next for you?
Well, currently I am going to still keep writing and going to my public speaking, and I am still singing, and I enjoy writing my songs. I'm going to see if it's possible for me to write my own songs and then have them produced, along with some other good things that I am doing. And quickly, before I go, I just want to thank my Gavel Club and my Toastmaster, Lisa. This is my favorite person, so I just needed to say thank you. I want to say thank you to Auntie Gloria Keynes. She's the one who signed me up. So I'm so grateful for this opportunity and opportunities that I have been given to be an exceptional youth. And my mother, who I also thank within my speech. So thank you so much.
Okay, I want to thank all three of our exceptional young people today, Azaria Johnson, Denzel Green, and Trinity Clark. Just keep it up. Folks, we have lots of exceptional youth. Have a great day at school today, and I wish you all well in your future endeavors.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Morning Barbados, we got to meet a lot of exceptional young people. We have Sandy doing her awesome work in the SEED program, which is going to be launching shortly, but starting in July. So remember, she has a cap at 100, so get there. Well, it's been great bringing it to you. Have a great, terrific Thursday. Morning Barbados, I'm Wendy Burke.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados. girls, get up. Good morning.